आँखें।
Good evening, ladies and gentlemen. Welcome to our show, Thames Speaks. Thames Speaks is a program which we always do on Thursday on Sky 711 at MATV. We always discuss with the people, those who are playing an important role in democracy, those who are playing an important role in society, or those who are serving communities. Today we have a special guest who is playing an important role and who himself has gone through a cycle, which I can say is like a roller coaster cycle, but he has made his own pathway. I would like to welcome today's guest, Councillor Ron. Welcome, Ron.
Hello, Hendra. Having trouble hearing you, but how are you?
I'm good, and I hope you're also You're also enjoying it. I can see you're just right now. You're in front of Palace of Westminster. It's just mother of all the democracies, and it's great to see you. Welcome to this program. This program is an important thing because in this program I really want to discuss with you because you are serving as a councillor in Hounslow at the moment, and you have gone through many ups and downs in the life. You have seen hardship. You have gone through maybe many cycles. My audience will be happy to hear from you. Why did you plan to join politics in UK?
Oh, very good. Thank you so much for asking. One of the reasons why I joined politics was because of my upbringing. I was fostered in the London Borough of Hounslow, and what happened then was through 6 different foster families, I finally met the foster family of all foster families, my mum and dad, Celine and Don Hassel. They found that I had a passion for politics. I enjoyed watching PMQs, and they wanted me to sort of drive forward that love for politics, love for helping others. And through really, really small changes, I became a coach, rugby coach, a school governor, and then I joined the Conservative Party back in 2005. And from there, I became a campaigner. I ran for the elections, in the local elections in Hounslow, but it was 2018 when I first got elected as a Conservative councillor in Chiswick.
I think it's amazing to hear about this, but I think a lot of people, those who are watching you, probably they do not know your even initial journey from where you came, how many hardships you have seen, and finally you ended up with 6 different forces families in Hounslow. And this is the true spirit of democracy, where each and every person who is in the democracy, they're eligible to become a leader, they are eligible to lead the nation. And so when you become councillor in Hounslow, what was your thoughts in the beginning and what changes you wanted to bring?
Oh, Hendra, great question. Fantastic question. I mean, one of the things that I was, as a young man in Hounslow, one of the things that I remember seeing was that it was a very, very safe place for me to live. The adults were respected, the police were respected, and it was a real safety net for me coming up. So I guess now that I'm an older person, I'm 42 years old now, I want to make the same environment for our young people who are growing up in Hounslow. And this is what I'm in politics. And I think that more people in Hounslow and around the whole of Southwest London should look not just to run in front-facing politics, but there are so many different facets in which we can make our environment safe and secure to live and prosper. So I got involved because I thought I could make a difference, but I also want to bring people with me. I want people to join the party or even join other organizations where they support the community. I'm really all about community because without that community, Hendra, I wouldn't be where I am today. It's the community that raised me. Yes, my foster parents, Celine and Don Hassel, played a massive role, but overall the community helped me. So I was fostered, for example, in Heston, then I was fostered in Isleworth, twice in Chiswick, and then in Richmond. So the whole of Southwest London contributed to my upbringing. So I want to give back, and I want to urge more people who are watching this today, become foster parents, become activists, join a local political party, join a charity, and help this community become the community that it was once back in the 90s.
I love the way you spoke passionately about your own journey, and especially what exactly you have gathered. What you are today, it's basically a cumulative impact from your journey from Southwest London. Now you are standing for as a GLA candidate. What do you think about it, and why did you decide to become a GLA candidate from that particular area?
Well, I have to pay homage to Tony Arbour, who was the previous GLA candidate for the Southwest London, then Nick Rogers, who is currently serving as the GLA person for Southwest London. So he unfortunately announced that he was going to be stepping down. Now, I've been a councillor for 6 years. The vacancy appeared and I took it with both hands, because this is a community I want to give back to. So it was a natural progression for me, and I will, of course, continue to be a councillor, but this will be a much wider scope and a much more of a voice for Southwest London. So I've been very vocal. Many people in Hounslow would tell you that I'm one of the most vocal councillors on the Hounslow Council at the moment. But imagine what that would be if I'm elected as the GLA candidate for Southwest London. So I'll be there at City Hall, talking to the mayor, talking to all the officers there to make sure that our patch of Southwest London is well and truly represented. And I'll be the first black representative on the GLA for this part. So it's a huge, huge, huge honor.
I completely agree. What will be your priorities? Like, as a GLA candidate, every person who wants to become a leader, basically they have a vision, they have a thoughts about their area. What are your priorities about your area?
Firstly, the number one priority is the ULEZ expansion needs to be scrapped from day one. That's Susan Hall's flagship policy. That's the first thing she's going to do. But when we take that aside, my experience of living in Hounslow, living in Chiswick, living in Brentford, living in Richmond, is that crime is one area that we as leaders of our communities should take as the first principle. So for me, I think the supporting of our police officers, especially on issues and policies such as stop and search, I do believe the stop and search is actually a good thing. And I think the police need to be given the powers and the authority to make sure that they conduct themselves in that manner, and they help tackle some of the antisocial behaviours that we're seeing on Feltham High Streets, in Hounslow High Streets, and all the other areas in Chiswick High Streets. It needs to be recognised that the police are there to help the community, and we need to give them those powers. So my number one priority as someone who lives in the area would be stopping the antisocial behavior that is rampant at the moment. Now, we've got the flagship policy of ULEZ, so we want to stop that, yes, from day one. But number two, my second most important thing, and important to everybody actually living in Southwest London, is to make sure that we address the issues of crime.
I completely agree. Even you might have seen there's a crime which is related to the night. There's a crime which is related to the aggravated burglaries. There's a crime, especially they target our elder community, elder people, those who are even disabled people, those who are very old. People target them, they snatch money and other things. Even I can, yes.
Absolutely. I was just about to join in on that, to say, yes, the issue, especially our older population, they want to feel safe in their own houses. They want to feel safe walking down to the high street. They want to feel safe going to the shops. And I think that we have a duty to make sure that that's actually well functioning, so that people can actually get on with their lives in the way they used to be able to. So for me, I really think that it's about empowering our police officers, but it's also about empowering our community. You and I are probably about the same age. You remember the days when you can walk down a high street, you see a police officers, and you give them absolute respect. At the moment, that's not happening. Why not? So I think we as a community have a lot to answer for that, and it starts with the leadership, and the leadership will be from the voice of the GLA candidate, from the mayor's office, down to the police officers, down to the support officers on the street, down to our safer neighborhood teams, and also down to our neighborhood watchers, to ensure that we have that understanding that we should respect authority, and we should be able to give more powers to our police officers.
Thank you. I think there's one more shift which I've noticed nowadays. I'm not talking about, I've seen this in media, but when we discuss with common people, I think they are more concerned about, not about the global issues, they are more concerned about the local issues. People are thinking about potholes on the road, people are thinking about NHS, people are thinking about safety, people are thinking about the rising prices and inflation, people are thinking about the quality of the education, people are worried about the behavior of the students in schools and outside the school. I think people really want to address those issues which are more local issues rather than the global issues. And because they really want that their house should be in order first. So as a GLA candidate, what do you think about all these issues? And do you think, I'm sure, when you will be elected as a GLA, you will definitely raise a voice, you will talk to the mayor, and you have a very sound and passionate voice. They have to listen to you. But what do you think about these issues?
Yeah, so I mean, the first thing is to remember, I think most Londoners need to know this already, but some of them don't quite know it, is the powers are devolved from central government to London. So London has been run by one mayor, and that's Mayor Sadiq Khan. So the powers that the mayor has a £21 billion budget, and the powers to sort out transport, housing, and police. These are the things that we are actually given as London to sort out for ourselves. So yes, the issues of cost of living crisis, that can be helped. So the mayor can keep the rents down, the councils can keep the precept down, which is the council tax, the mayor's council tax. The councils can also keep our council taxes down to try and help with this cost of living crisis. It's not good that the central government is helping as much as they can with people who are disadvantaged, people who are struggling, but yet you come to the local level and then you've got taxes going up. That doesn't make sense. So I think the first thing that we need to really address is to make sure that everybody knows there's been 8 years of Mayor Sadiq Khan. So we need to address that first. So once we address that, we then look at trying to make sure that the council tax is kept low, trying to make sure that rents, especially housing tenants' rents are kept low, the social housing tenants, to make sure that council tax is within manageable situations. So we have got financial support for residents in boroughs, not just in Hounslow, but you also got it in Richmond and in Kingston. There are discretionary funds that can help these residents who are in a struggling kind of positions, but they're not aware of it because all they see is national news that says, we've got a crisis, a cost of living crisis. But really what they should be asking for is, what are the councils and the councillors doing? What are they doing to help? What is the mayor doing? Is he helping, or is he being a hindrance? And I think on the doorsteps, from what I'm seeing at the moment, it seems to be, it's become a hindrance, a financial hindrance to residents. And I think we can address that on the 2nd of May, 2024.
I think, all those promises which different politicians they make, and definitely people want that those promises should convert into action. Because people really want relief. As I said earlier, people want relief in council taxes. They want a good education. They also want that the road should have a very good condition. And on the top of this, the people felt that there's a ullage which is costing them a lot, because they have to buy either new cars or they have to pay hefty money so they can keep their old car. So these are the burning issues, and people, I think, they really want to see something should happen which can bring a positive change in their own lives. What do you think? What are the plans for the people, especially those who are in social housing, those who really need social housing in London? How will you support them? And do you think that government is planning that they should have at least a house where a family can easily and comfortably live?
That's a really good point. Let me address the first bit, which is when you have a ULEZ charge of £12.50 a day, and you're struggling to pay rent. Now, I'm from the background where I was fostered and then I lived on a council estate for 16 years. I know what it feels like to struggle to pay your rent, to struggle to put food on the table for that night. And then once you've got all those going on your shoulders, you then got hit with £12.50 a day to drive out of your house. That's not fair. That cannot be fair. So that's the first thing that we just need to address. And it's the ULEZ is actually hurting the poorest the most. So people like me, 15 years ago, 20 years ago, when I was struggling, when I was on benefits, it's things like that were pushed me over the edge. I had bailiffs at my house because I couldn't afford to pay the rent and I couldn't afford to pay the overdraft in my bank. Imagine what people are going through right now with the cost of living crisis. So I have to feel sorry for those people who are going through that because I know what it feels like. Now, on the second part about housing, absolutely. I mean, the amount of properties that is going up in areas that most of you, your listeners and viewers are aware of, it's just high-rise blocks, square boxes with no outside space. Families cannot live there, not let alone afford to live there. They cannot live there. There's no garden, there's no outside space, there is no amenities. They can't get to the nearest bus stop or nearest train station. This is not the right kind of development that we Londoners need. What Londoners need is housing that is for families, for local people. So let's say you live in Hounslow and you're a young family. You should be able to buy a house or a place with a garden and outside space in Hounslow. But at the moment, none of that is possible. I think the greatest gift that this country has given us is that right to buy, especially people who, like me, who were on social housing. People to be able to own their own property, that is a pride and joy. I'm lucky to have been able to achieve that, but I achieved it through sacrifice. But I know so many more like me who are struggling, who cannot get that first run on the ladder. So not only do they need housing, I'm lucky because I just needed a 1-bedroom flat. But families out there who need 2, 3-bedroom properties and they cannot afford it. They're moving out of Hounslow. They're moving out of Richmond. They're moving out of Kingston. That's not the right thing to be happening for our Londoners. I want to be that champion who says, let's build in Southwest London and let's build for families. Let's build for local families. So you stay in Hounslow. Let's keep, you as someone who went to a school in Hounslow, let's keep your kids go to the same school as you went to. What a lovely legacy to leave that, Hounslow is a place to be proud and to be, to have your family live there, to have your kids go to school there, to have your grandkids go to school there. What a lovely picture that would be for all Londoners. And that's why I want to be the voice for Southwest London, because I want to be getting that sort of message to the mayor or mayoress. I'm hoping it'll be mayoress, of course.
In this case, I can also add one more thing. I know Hounslow is one of the most ethnically diverse area. And I mean, if you're representing, you are basically a true representation of the diversity which we celebrate in this country. And maybe a lot of people, they have questions about, not only about social housing, they also feel about how are you going to achieve, maybe how are you going to achieve as an even conservative candidate, that we will address issues of potholes or issues of rest of the things which is happening on the street. Maybe sometimes streets are not safe, or maybe certain gang cultures are there. What do you think? How are you going to address that?
Yes. So the potholes and things of that nature, what we call casework as a councillor, these are the bread and butter issues that I do each and every single day. And that's something that I will still take into the assembly as an assembly member, because I will still be a councillor. So I will have the experience of seeing on the very, very surface, on the very, very bottom, seeing what the basic issues, the basic needs are. So potholes, for example, I cycle my bike quite a fair bit, and I also drive. Now, the most common thing for cyclists and motorists where we come together is both of us dislike potholes. So as a GLA member, I will make sure that we are working with all 3 councils. So Richmond Borough Council, Kingston Borough Council and Hounslow Borough Council, to make sure that we're addressing those most basic things that we both sides agree on, which is potholes. So that's the first thing. And then we talk about diversity. I think that it's the most important thing in our society, especially here in London. Diversity, but I'm not just talking about diversity of colour, but diversity of opinion, diversity of different classes. And I think for someone who went to Heathland School in Hounslow, I went to a very diverse school. I'm in a council where we are very diverse in terms of ideas, backgrounds, and so on. And I want to have that sort of diversity, that sort of weight into the London Borough of Hounslow, into the London Assembly, because once the mayor or mayoress sees that there are different ideas coming from Southwest London, he or she will be able to better represent us in terms of giving us the funding, giving us the support that we need, and making Southwest London a great place to live. But let me add that I want it to be Mayor Susan Hall. I do want that to happen. But whoever it is that is in City Hall, I want to be that voice championing, holding them to account to make sure that Southwest London is properly represented.
I hope your passionate voice will convert into action. My next question is, which is very simple, what's your message to the people whom you want to represent? Can you just share a small message about them?
Well, my message to them is, Southwest London is a place that we all love. And for most of the voters this coming May, they would have seen London at its highest point. And it was great in the times where you could walk down the street without fear from any criminality or antisocial behavior towards you. I want us to return to that place. I want to champion civility. I want us to be proud of Southwest London. I am so proud of this place. It wasn't just my foster parents, Lynn and Don, who raised me. It was the whole community that raised me. And I want the community to raise the next Ron Mushiso. I want it to raise the next Mo Farah. So that's why I want to be the champion, because with more people like me, with the background and experience that we have had, the upbringing that we have had, we have got a unique voice on the Assembly. We have a unique voice in politics. So that's why I'm hoping that on the 2nd of May, that the vote comes to Ron Mushiso and with Susan Hall, because together we can make that change happen.
Thank you, Ron. I'm sure your message is very loud and clear. Your vision and thoughts are very clear about that, how you want to support the local community and why you want to represent them. I'm sure England is just a mother of modern democracy. Definitely, it has given opportunity to each and everyone from each and every section of the society, even from each and every race. Yes. In this country. And I think that's the beauty of this democracy. Definitely, this democracy is representing aspirations of the people and values generated from the common people. I hope you will truly represent them. It was really lovely to see you today in this TV show, and I'm sure very soon we will meet up, and I hope I should be able to ask you about your promises, and I will check that are you able to convert those promises into actions or not. So thanks a lot to you, Ron, today for joining us tonight.
You've got it, Hendra. Thank you so much.
Thank you. So it was Ron, who is from Hounslow, and he is contesting an election as a GLA candidate. I hope everyone has enjoyed. Thanks a lot for joining us tonight.